They fired me for protecting a kid from bullies. Now the whole school is about to learn a lesson. When Emma witnessed the relentless bullying of Dean, a shy student at Greenland High School, she knew she had to act. Her intervention led to an unexpected dismissal, but a surprising letter from a powerful figure would soon change everything. Greenland High School was one of the best high schools in the city of Greenland. In recent years, it held the record for unbeatable academic excellence and was known as a place of transformation for kids who wanted more out of their lives. Though the school was very old and had been in existence since the beginning of Greenland, it remained on a list of the top 5 best schools in the area. Parents who attended Greenland High often tried to enroll their children in the same school, hoping they would enjoy the same benefits they did. Emma was a teacher at the school who was passionate about her job and loved her students. Not only that, but as someone who was born and raised in Greenland, Emma had also attended Greenland High, so she was very familiar with its rules and regulations. Emma started teaching there in her mid-20s, and after 2 years in the system, she began to notice something that had lingered in Greenland High for far too long: bullying. As a child and teenager, Emma had been very shy and timid. She didn't have many friends and was often alone, making her an easy target for bullies in her class. Many times, Emma experienced different kinds of bullying. She had been pranked in the classroom, the hallway, and even in the restroom. On several occasions, she insisted she didn't want to go to school because she feared being bullied by the older girls. The worst part was that the school never took action to stop the bullying. Each time Emma reported her experiences to a teacher or the administration, the bullies were merely warned, which only led to more bullying. For years, Emma endured her bullies until the day she finally stood up for herself. The prolonged bullying had impacted her self-esteem and left her in a constant state of fear and anxiety at school. But standing up for herself was a turning point. So when Emma saw that kids were still being bullied years later, with the school still turning a blind eye, she was furious. Emma noticed a particular student, Dean, was often the target of bullying. Dean was a shy, timid 12-year-old, just as Emma had been at his age. Several times, she saw older boys bully Dean during lunch breaks, after school, and even during class hours. The main difference between Dean and Emma was that he never reported the bullying. Somehow, the older boys had instilled enough fear in him to keep him silent. At first, when Emma noticed Dean was being bullied, she tried to talk to him, hoping he would admit to it. But Dean denied being bullied, insisting the older kids were only messing around with him. Despite Dean's believable lie, Emma could tell he was covering up for his bullies, and she understood why. So she decided to help him. Emma began closely watching Dean, and a few weeks later, she caught the bullies in the act. One day, during a lunch break, she was in class sorting out the tests her students had submitted when she spotted Dean being bullied by 3 older boys outside her classroom window. Immediately, she left the class and walked out onto the school field. "Hey, what are you guys doing?" Emma yelled as she approached the boys. "Oh, nothing, Miss Emma. We're just messing with him," one of the older boys responded. "No, you're not. You're bullying Dean. And today the school authority will hear about it," Emma said firmly. "You're mistaken, Miss Emma. We were just playing." Dean tried to defend the bullies. "Dean, I know these boys have been bullying you. I've known for a long time. Defending them will only give them more power, and trust me, that's not what you want. I've been in your shoes at this very school, and I can tell you with certainty that the bullies won't stop unless you stand up to them and do the right thing," Emma said. Then she asked, Now will you come with me so we can do the right thing?" Without hesitation, Dean walked away from the boys and followed Emma. Together, they went to the principal's office to report what had happened. "You know the rules and regulations, Miss Emma. You weren't supposed to interfere directly," the principal said after Emma narrated the incident. "I know, but I had to do something. This boy has been constantly bullied, and it would have been terrible of me to turn a blind eye," Emma replied. "I understand, Emma. We will look into it," the principal said. "You may return to class now, Emma," he added. After Emma took Dean to the principal's office to report his bullying, she felt a sense of satisfaction and relief. She even wished that she had a teacher like herself back in her time, someone who cared more about the students than the school policy. When Emma got to school the next day, she expected to hear some good news from the principal or from Dean himself. But something unexpected happened. Shortly after Emma had settled in class for the day, she was called to the principal's office. At first, Emma did not suspect anything was wrong, but as soon as she arrived, she could tell by the look on his face that she wouldn't be receiving any good news. "I'm sorry, Miss Emma, but we have to let you go," the principal said. "I don't understand. Why would you do that?" Emma asked, shocked. She couldn't believe that the school had decided to fire her instead of doing something about the bully. "You violated the school rules and directly intervened in a situation you shouldn't have," the principal responded. But, Emma stammered. "I'm sorry, miss, but this is our final decision." "Thank you," the principal said. With that, Emma left his office and went straight into her classroom to pack her things. Shortly after she left Greenfield High School that morning, the news of her dismissal spread around the school like wildfire. Both teachers and students were aware of what Emma had done and why she was fired. When Dean heard that Emma had been fired because of him, he couldn't stop blaming himself. Later that day, when Dean went home, his parents noticed he was unusually quiet and seemed sad. He remained the same way for the next few days, which bothered his parents. For days, Dean's parents questioned him about his mood until, one evening, Dean finally told them what had happened. That was the first time Dean's parents heard that he was being bullied at school, and when they found out the only teacher who stood up for their son had been fired, they were furious. Dean's father was a very important person in Greenland. In the past, he had made numerous donations to the school, which the school was fully aware of. The next day, Dean's father wrote a letter to the school, asking them to reinstate Emma. When the school received the letter, they called for a meeting to reconsider reinstating Emma. They knew Dean's father was one of their most generous benefactors, and if they didn't follow his request, they would miss out on some of his generous donations. After much deliberation, the school decided to reinstate Emma as a teacher. Without wasting time, they called Emma to notify her that she had been reinstated. When Emma heard the news, her joy knew no bounds. When she returned to school the next day, all the students and teachers were thrilled to have her back. Dean and some of her students welcomed her in a grand way, decorating her classroom to celebrate her return. 2 days after Emma returned to Greenland High School, Dean's parents invited her to their home. They thanked her for standing up for their son and for any inconvenience it might have caused her. To show their gratitude, Dean's parents gifted Emma some money, and she couldn't thank them enough for helping her get her job back. After the incident with Emma and Dean, the school began to pay closer attention to bullying among students. They also started to severely punish students who bullied others, and as a result, bullying cases reduced drastically, thanks to Emma. As for Dean and Emma, the teacher and student continued to share a great relationship for a very long time until Dean eventually graduated from high school. To Dean, Emma was his angel in human form, who helped him conquer his greatest fears and boosted his self-esteem. He was forever indebted to her. Dean's story quickly became an inspiration to other students who were being bullied. They realized that they were not alone and that there were people who would stand up for them. The culture of silence around bullying began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of community and support. Emma's return was a triumph for both justice and compassion. Her courage to stand up for Dean, even at the cost of her job, reminded everyone at Greenland High School of the true purpose of education: to nurture and protect young minds. From that day forward, the school truly lived up to its reputation as a place of transformation, not just for academic growth, but for personal growth as well.